those who don't know, Robin and I share an office. And I went into our office one time, and not an eavesdropper, but she was on the phone, and she was clearly upset. And as I overheard her end of the conversation, I realized somebody was on the other end making her upset and making statements about income tax. And I quickly went to my computer and went to a YouTube video of this guy who had posted a conversation that seemed probably similar to the one that she was going through. And it was indeed a scam, and I was able to alleviate Robin's fears by while the same time she's talking to this guy, who he's telling her she's going to go to jail. You're going to have to send me some money right now, otherwise the IRS is going to come and get you. In fact, we've got police coming to you right now. Remember that?
I do. That was horrible.
And I found it because I had heard about that scam before, but it's one of the few I've heard about. There are others. Kathy Stokes is on the phone. She is a senior advisor with AARP and the leader of the AARP Fraud Watch Network, telling us about the most common and successful tax scams. They were not successful with you, thank God.
Yeah.
Kathy Stokes. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning, Larry.
Where are you?
And I want to deputize you. If you could stop Robin from being scammed, I wanted to send you across the country and stop other people too.
You think? I mean, I always think that as soon as you tell them about the scam, that you've killed it. There's no chance that the scammer will have a chance of making any headway.
Well, that's the point. People have to hear about it. And one of the things we learned from our survey is that there's a sense of overconfidence. 75% of people think that it's easy, or at least fairly easy, to determine if someone's trying to scam you. But these scammers are really sophisticated. They catch you at a moment when you're feeling vulnerable for some reason, perhaps, and you just want to be a good citizen and do the right thing, and you take action without actually stopping and thinking, would the IRS actually call me and demand payment with a gift card?
Yeah, really. I know. Do you know, there was a guy who got arrested. I think he was in Chicago, and I was surprised because I always thought that all of this stuff was taking place overseas or something, where they were immune to the law.
No, it happens everywhere. They're boiler rooms, they call them, where these scammers will sit in a room all day and dial calls automatically until they get someone that picks up. And, they're off to the races.
Is the phone the most common way for a scammer to find a victim, or is email just as common?
Well, you would think that with all the ways that people can get to us now with email and text and social media, that those would be more common ways. But still, the highest incidence of victims actually losing money comes over the phone. The Federal Trade Commission puts out a report every year, and this year it said 70% of all fraud that results in a loss comes over the telephone.
And the IRS is partly to blame for this because they always put the fear of God in everybody. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they never are going to call you and threaten arrest. It's just something they don't do. There is a process that happens if you do owe taxes. You'll get a letter first. You'll get a series of letters. You have an opportunity to appeal. It's not like the IRS is ever going to pick up the phone and call you and threaten you with arrest.
So what about the scams that you don't even hear about? The ones where you put in for your refund and you find out they've already sent the refund to somebody.
Yeah, so what happens there is that somebody will get a hold of personal information, specifically your Social Security number, and they'll file the tax return in your name, but have the refund come to them. And you don't even know it's happened until you go to file your return, and the IRS contacts you and says that your return has already been processed.
Wow. Isn't there any safeguards in place on the part of the IRS to like make sure this is the email or what do you call the bank account number or any of that stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm not really sure what their internal processes are, but they have fraud investigators that do a heck of a lot of work around tax time to try to prevent this from happening. There are data on it that suggests that just I think last year there were $2 billion in attempted fake returns for
Wow.
refunds,
Wow.
and they caught like 92% of them. So they do catch a lot of them, but some slip through the cracks.
Do they ever make appointments with the people they call and then go up to their door and receive funds that way?
No, they don't. No, you have to mail a check in. The one thing that's kind of confusing these days is that the IRS has signed up with, I believe it's 4 companies that can do collections for them, but there's a whole process that happens to make sure that this is actually the legitimate collector, and you get many letters from the IRS, and then you get a letter from the collector before you start getting phone calls.
I have the AARP logo on the video that we're streaming right now as we do this, and it'll be up as a recording later on. Is that the best website because obviously a radio interview is going to be very short. Will that website, the AARP website, give us like some information we could use to maybe tack to the wall or put on the refrigerator or something?
Yeah, if you go to aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork, there's a nice tip sheet there that will tell you all the things that you can expect the IRS not to do to protect yourself, and then some tips on things like shredding papers and securing your personal information, with strong passwords and with not leaving things in the car for people to steal, things like that.
And everybody likes to feel the sign of independence, but when people do get older, maybe when they get calls like this, they can say, I'll get back to you, and then they should call a family member, like their grown-up child or something like that, to say, hey, I just got this call. Do you think it's real?
I think that would stop so much of this if people just take a pause. It's not, don't act right away if you're unsure or if you're scared. Hang up the phone. If you're afraid that you actually owe money to the IRS, contact the IRS and they'll be able to tell you.
Wow. Is it only the IRS, or are they tapping into Social Security checks as well, the scammers?
Yeah, well, here's another thing. That Social Security has this great resource on its website called My Social Security Account. And if you sign up for that, you can you can check your benefit status, you can get a new card, a lot of good things you can do with it, but scammers have figured out how to set up My Social Security accounts in people's names as they near retirement, filing for their returns, and the person is, losing their benefits, so they have to go through a whole process with the Social Security Administration to fix that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. The world is just not always good, is it? Kathy, thank you for this great information. The website again, aarp.org/ finish it for me.
Fraud Watch Network.
Fraud Watch Network. Okay. Kathy Stokes, thank you for being on the show with us today. That was good information.
Thank you both. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll be right back.
If you or a loved one is suffering with knee, shoulder, neck, back pain, or tennis elbow and would like to learn how to get out of pain, go to Regenetic.com. Then listen in on the first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. to the people that give you the regenerative medical solutions to your pain. Regenetic, first and third Thursdays, 10 a.m. here on WOCA 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. The Source, Regenetic.com.
The Marion Civic Chorale announces their 2018 concert series.